This segment is brought to you by Minimizer, Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. Minimizer was formed more than 30 years ago when truck driver Dick Kruckerberg literally invented the poly fender.
These are the first blueprints of my fenders 25 years ago.
Fast forward 3 decades, and Minimizer makes a variety of aftermarket truck products. Blooming Prairie continues to serve as company headquarters because Minimizer is committed to its hometown and the success of the community as a whole.
We're here today on the Where's Mark segment with two precious people from Owatonna, and they're right downtown Owatonna at 125 West Bridge Street, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you. We're here sitting in the actual brain thrust of corporate recognition, and I happened to meet Pam yesterday at the chamber outing, and I thought, oh, this is great because this is their 20th year anniversary. So first of all, we want to wish you guys a happy anniversary here, and falls 13 years short of your wedding anniversary, and so I'll have you introduce yourself first. Ron?
I'm Ryan.
Ryan? What did I say, Ron?
Yeah, that's okay. I'm Ryan, and yeah, I grew up in Owatonna, so I'm an Owatonna native.
Did you go to OHS?
Graduated from OHS in 1978.
Okay.
So still have some pretty good roots here.
And what did you do after graduation?
Well, I actually went up to Alaska. Worked construction up in Alaska for a number of years. I worked at a fishing lodge for a summer, and
That's like a dream job.
yeah, it was a dream job. That's a whole nother story right there.
Yeah,
so,
I bet.
yeah.
We'll have to come back and get that on camera too.
Yeah, that's right.
So what made you leave Alaska to come back to Owatonna?
Well, that's part of the story. Actually, Pam come up there about the same time I did to visit her cousin. I was up visiting my brother, and so, Pam was the first daughter out of the house, so her parents missed her a lot. So actually, we went and moved to Illinois for 4 years before coming here.
Okay.
So actually, I came here to join my brother in the Kubat's tree service at that time, and so we worked for a couple of years, and then we kind of just went our own way. So.
I see.
Yeah.
And were you married when you were in Alaska?
We were married, actually. We flew back to Illinois to be married, but then we flew back up to Alaska and lived there another couple of years before we moved back to the States. That's
We
what
met there, we got married a year later, then moved to Illinois for 4 years.
So he dragged you all the way to Alaska. What did you think about that?
Well,
I know your parents were probably.
Illinois,
It's more the other way around.
Okay.
yeah.
So how'd you like it in Alaska?
It was nice. It was good.
Yeah? A
Yeah.
little snowy up there?
Just a little long winters,
Yeah. But boy, when that sun stays out 24 hours, that's something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. The summers are a lot of sunshine.
Yeah.
And you work construction, you said up there, huh, Ryan?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I worked out of the union, so worked on some really big projects up there. Worked on some schools, a big library that was built in Anchorage, and so yeah, I was pretty busy doing that. It was more seasonal work though.
Sure.
Actually, in the wintertime, some.
You'd think it would be such a challenge to, like, the cement pours up there and the foundational work and things like that.
Yeah, we had some pretty good shelters built
Oh, I bet.
on some of the projects.
Did you have to tent almost everything that you were doing up there?
In the wintertime we did. The
You did?
summertime we did.
Yeah. That's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of hard work.
So you went to Illinois and lived in Illinois, and I assume that's where you're from, Pam?
Yeah.
Okay, what part of Illinois?
Yorkville, Illinois.
Yorkville, which
Yes.
is?
It's west of Chicago, about an hour, a little over an hour.
Okay, so are you on the 90 corridor then?
Just
Or
south of there.
You're just south of there.
It's just south of there.
Ah.
Yeah, my parents were from there. My dad had a business there for 30 years,
I see.
and he was an entrepreneur, had his own that business, and actually up to 4 different businesses at one point in time. So I kind of grew up in that mentality of entrepreneurship, I guess.
Sure. Well, I lived in Hoffman Estates when I was down there.
Oh,
and
sure.
I still am a raging Cubs fan, and miss Chicago dearly, except for the extreme winds
Right.
and and the traffic.
Yeah.
2 seasons down there. There's winter and road construction, and that's the only thing that they know on their roads down there. So, of course, out in Yorkville, it's a little bit different, I suppose.
Yeah, Yorkville was just a bedroom community, I guess
Sure.
you'd say, for a long time. Now it's become almost, the suburbs have pushed out there.
Right.
And when I lived there was 2,500 people. I think maybe when we were there, it might have been 4. Now it's 17.
Wow.
So in 20 years,
It's grown.
it's grown a lot.
So, in Illinois, is that where you first came up with the idea to do what you're doing today?
No, actually, I was working at a supplier, a jewelry manufacturer here in town called Black Forest.
Here in Owatonna.
Yep.
What brought you back to Owatonna? Just the tree service?
Yep, that's what we, actually, that was gonna be a stepping stone back to Alaska.
Okay.
But that just never happened.
So
But
this is a big step
moved,
here.
Our daughter Kate was born, and we
Okay.
just decided that we didn't want that rush kind of culture and be gone from her for 12 plus hours a day. So we moved here so that he could work in the tree business, and then I could stay at home with her for a while.
That's
So
great. That's great.
That was the idea.
Yeah, you see those Alaskan shows where they're raising their kids out in like a cabin and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So,
called socially retarding your children.
yeah. So I worked at Black Forest, which is a supplier in this industry, and sort of an offshoot of Jostens, but they do buckles and medallions and coins and recognition rings. And I was their sales and marketing manager. So I'd go to the shows, the industry shows, to show that product, but I'd be right next to all of this. And I just thought this was a interesting side of the business, a lot of creativity to help businesses to market themselves and grow. And we wanted to do something that we could start a business together, and
Sure. And it was just a short step away, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, that's correct.
So we started out part-time. He was home with the kids and doing a lawn and ground service, mowing lawns and doing snow blowing. And then we
Tree
started,
cutting, hedges.
and then we started this also. So there'd be days he'd go out, mow a couple lawns, go back home, dress up nice, go out and see some
Customers.
customers for this business, and then go back home and take care of the kids. And
And,
there was a lot of jostling
when you
around.
started up, did you start it up as corporate recognition? Was that the name
Yes.
right away?
Yep.
So you guys who had the idea? Was it your idea, Pam, or was it yours, Ryan?
Well, I think Pam would want to say it was hers, but really
Okay.
it was my idea.
Do you remember
We'll see.
do you remember the first day where you finally came together, or maybe over lunch or over dinner, and you looked at each other and say, "Why don't we start our own business?" Did that ever happen?
Well,
Yeah, we were talking about it.
yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about it for quite a while. It was something we wanted to do. We wanted to find something we could do together. And he wanted to be on the sales side. And this was something that I could do all the support side of it with the accounting, and
Sure.
knew the suppliers from being at the shows. What really kicked it off was a church we were going to at the time. Gave every family unit $50 to invest,
If they
to
wanted
find
it.
a way, if they wanted it, to find a way to invest in order to bring back into the kingdom. And so that's where we decided on the name and the logo, and
Oh, that's a great marketing idea for churches.
Yeah.
What church was that?
it was Christian Family Church.
Okay, right here in Owatonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was
When they
Well,
were a much smaller.
20 years ago,
church.
basically.
Sure.
It was 21 years
Yeah,
ago.
21 years ago.
Because we got the idea and we designed the logo, and then we got a fax machine and letterhead done, and then didn't do anything for about 9 months.
How cool! How cool is this? I'm going to break in here. How cool is this that you're talking about coming up with a logo and branding, and then your daughter stands up yesterday at the chamber boot camp and teaches all of us about branding and logos and marketing. You had to be pretty proud of her yesterday.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That was awesome.
Our logo, we've got a diamond in it, which, it sometimes can be deceiving. People might think we're a jewelry store or something, but the idea behind it was the quality of a diamond and the exceptional
But I don't
perception
even, but I don't even
of
think we
it.
thought about
Yes,
that
we
at the
did.
time.
Yeah, we did. We talked
Okay.
about that.
And then also the idea that, corporate recognition is just that. I look at your logo, and this is honestly what I thought. I thought, recognition is for those employees that were diamonds in the rough. They've created diamonds in their businesses, and now they're receiving the recognition because of how far they've come.
Right.
I think that's genius. That's, I don't know if you figured it out that way or not, but it is.
Not all right away. We
It
did.
was really good.
Thank you.
So again, that's corporate recognition, and that's high. There's a high quality there,
Yeah.
but
And
it's
we
buried
wanted-
in the rock.
Yeah, and we wanted to set ourselves apart that way with that kind of a mindset.
Sure.
Honestly, was to we sold awards and things before we sold some of the more common promotional products, pencils and things. So
Did you start off like selling trophies and plaques and things like that?
We never really had sold trophies.
Okay.
We can, but
we call them awards. more
Awards,
for
yeah.
Right,
us,
right.
Trophies more fit the sports
Right.
and things like that. But first job we ever did was a plastic bag, but it had 10 logos on it, and it was for a customer out in Las Vegas.
And
And it's in our memorial wall over there too.
did you
so-
screen it, or did you?
It was screen
It was
printed.
screen printed on there. So you started pretty much in screen printing. Do you
Yeah.
have a regular printer here in Owatonna?
Not that does that. We've
Okay.
got vendors all across the country.
That
and-
you send out to and then
Yep.
they return. Okay.
And we choose those suppliers based on their abilities and their A+ rating in
Their
in
integrity.
the industry. That's right. And sometimes it's based on where they're located in comparison to where our customer is, in order to save shipping or
Sure.
production time and
Sure.
stuff. So
Well, so you got it off the ground. When you first start a business, it's pretty much, they say it's 90% marketing, 10% production. Is that true?
it was, I guess so. I would say it was relationship building.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was getting out there and developing relationships with people, letting them know who we are, and just getting to know them.
How hard was it to break into the Owatonna market?
We did it very slowly, because actually we were both working jobs at the time. So, I think the first year we did $2,000 worth of business, and the second year we didn't do that much more. We doubled, and I think we doubled it. We kept doubling every year, so.
I'm not sure what the numbers were.
Yeah, and I don't think that we were really pushing at it that hard. We were really trying to force our way through. It just kind of happened, it just kind of was a gradual thing. And
Sure. And
I was fortunate to have, I mentioned my dad was an entrepreneur. My siblings all got into sales and marketing of some type too.
so we did have some support there.
So
from-
we were able
get
to,
going,
they
yeah.
were able to introduce us in the companies they were in.
Sure.
And if we were able to come through for them, that's how we got our foot in the door. So oftentimes it was, can you do this impossible project that nobody else wants? And we would do it, and that would open the door for us.
go where nobody else wants to go and do what nobody else wants to do.
That's about it.
There's not always a lot of money in that at first, but it's,
Right, that's
like you
right.
said, there's something, that's the investment. That's that seed that you're sowing into your community, to get back at a later date, or the harvest. Now, looking around your shop, it's impressive. Now, you've just moved here, correct?
Yes, in October.
And where did you come from?
We were just around the corner, actually, at 104 West Park Square.
And why did you move?
We were out of room. We had gradually in the years that we'd been there, we'd gradually taken over all the space that there was. We had maximized every inch of it that we could, and it was a decision whether to status quo or grow is kind of where we came to.
And this is a beautiful facility here. Did you have a hand in this remodeling, Ryan?
Yeah, we did, actually. We had some walls that we had to tear out. Actually, there was a wall here. And
Yeah.
the wall behind us, there
This
was...
opening here we tore out.
We tore out, and, nothing was really ever painted in here. So all the walls had to be painted. The ceiling in the top, or the top 3 feet, that was a black. So...
But you left the ceiling intact. The ceiling,
Yeah.
it looks like it's looks like it's a small planking up there of some sort.
Yeah, it's tongue and groove of some sort, but
How old is the building, do you know?
it's well over 100 years old. There's
Wow.
Hooterlick furniture was in here, and there was a funeral home in here even before that. So
And then it became Played Against Sports.
a number of years ago, they sold Raleigh bicycles and sports equipment in here, and then
The most recent was the abstract and title was in this section
Okay.
here.
and then a lawyer was in the back.
Very back.
So did you guys buy the building, or are you just leasing?
Releasing.
Leasing it? And they allowed you to do this renovations?
right.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't too
They-
upset about that.
No, they were very happy that they've got one renter for the entire space.
Yeah.
And then they knew we would take care of it.
Half
Sure.
of it was vacant when we moved in here, so it was a real plus for us to
Sure.
take over the whole space.
Any plans on actually purchasing this building, or?
Actually, currently Larson Allen rents the top of this
Oh, okay.
building, so I don't think that could happen. We really wanted to buy a space
Right.
in town, but there just wasn't anything available that was really gonna accommodate us, that didn't need a lot
A
of work.
major,
you know, it was really-
major investment.
Yeah,
Well, this is a pretty good visible location. I mean,
Yeah, it
you're
is.
close to the downtown area.
Yeah.
It's easy access. Parking looks to be ample outside.
Yeah.
So, and one good thing about Owatonna downtown is it's really in a revitalization mode right now. All the shops are revamping. New businesses are coming in. The Ace is they're tearing down the old Arnold House, and they're going to be putting in a great big facility there.
For
So
Ace Hardware,
Yep.
it's really cleaning up down here, which really lends itself well to everything we've got here in Owatonna, like the Central Park. I mean, it's just a beautiful place, and architecture of Federated and Wells Fargo and
Yeah.
things downtown. So
Yeah, we loved the space we had before. We thought it was one of the best locations, but, we didn't have enough room. So this was the next best thing, really, to
Sure.
still staying downtown. And we'd like to see all these empty buildings filled.
yeah,
We pray for
Yeah.
that on a regular basis, so.
yeah. Well, you're going to need to go back to your church and have people just invest their money again. That's a great idea.
that's right.
Talk about where you go places where you didn't want to go or do what you didn't want to do. I was in full-time ministry for 40 years, and so dragging a family around with me was always a challenge. But when I first started out, I started as a youth pastor, and then I went to an evangelist before I had my first senior pastorate. And I would do the same thing. I would go to places that the big guys couldn't go. They couldn't afford to go, and I could. And I'd just go wherever I was called, and wherever they said, "Can you come?" I would say, "Of course, absolutely. I'll find a way to do it."
Right.
And it's funny that sometimes we don't invest in our kingdom here, but we invest in a higher kingdom, and so you can never go wrong doing that. And I kind of have a feeling that that's part of the integrity that gets you guys where you are today. Obviously, there's great faith in this. You don't open a building without either a lot of capital or a lot of faith. And even with a lot of capital,
And
it doesn't
keep it
make
going.
And keep it going for 20 years.
That really took a lot of faith for us
Yeah.
last year to make that step, because we were at a point where we're like, we could just let this be what it is, but we have Kate and Matt who came on, and they're looking to be the future and take it over someday when we're deciding to step back. And so this is an investment in them
So
as
you
well.
enlarged the place of your tents,
Yeah.
strengthened your stakes,
That's right.
and provided a place for your children. How cool is that?
That's right.
That's awesome. What are the biggest challenges in a business, starting your own business? What's one of the biggest challenges that you faced in startup?
In starting,
Yeah.
getting your name out there and making enough sales to survive it. I think 6 months into it, we looked at each other and thought, oh man, what did we do?
Yeah.
Honestly, my dad came in and he gave us some great help at the time too. Kind of
Yeah.
put together a plan on how to get out and make cold calls. And
Yeah, I never did any sales, before that really, so it was,
so he came in and he invested in
Yeah.
us
Sure.
for a couple weeks and helped us do that. Later on again, he did the same thing when we stepped up to computers, and because there wasn't really computers when we started,
Right,
even,
right.
which is funny to say. And we installed QuickBooks, and he entered everything for us to get it up and running. And so he's continuing to invest in us too. So
To be a kind of a backbone. Yeah, when you have somebody like that, there's a lot of young people that when they're going to go out, they have these big, grand ideas, and those are great. But at the same time, one of the things you need is to be teachable and to be coachable. And what do you say to those upstarts that come out and they don't want to take any advice from anybody? They don't want to take any, it's their idea, they want to do it the way they want to do it, and pay no mind to what's gone before them. What do you
Yeah.
say to them?
Well, that don't work. That's the first thing I'd say,
you've got to be willing to listen. You've got to
Yeah.
listen to your customers. You've got to listen
Right.
to advisors. The Bible clearly says,
Abundance
the
of counselors
abundance of
is-
counselors.
There's wisdom in
So,
that, yes.
Yeah.
And even where we are today, we're still looking for those advisors, the people to speak into our business and say, you could do well to kind of do this or do that, and make a few
Yeah.
changes, and we're open to that.
We also, we were very careful. We always stayed within our means when we were starting out. We didn't have all the fancy stuff, that we would have liked to have had, just even as far as technology, even, there were things that we could have had, more office space, nicer furniture probably, and,
Sure.
we just made do with what we had, so we didn't get into that financial trouble, which, when the market crashed a few years ago, actually, that really went in our benefit because we could still get credit.
We had very good credit.
We had good credit.
And so there were some distributors that they didn't have the credit, so when they had a customer with a big order, they couldn't fulfill it. And a customer would come our way then because we could. So
Yeah, so,
Right place and the right time.
yeah.
you gotta take controlled steps forward,
Yeah.
really, and
Ordered-
not get outside of your
Ordered
self.
steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You were telling me a little bit about the big project, one of the biggest projects you've done here with corporate recognition, and that was with Federated.
Yeah.
And just tell me how that all came about.
Well, we've been blessed to have a good partnership there, and when they need some creative awards, something designed, we've been able to step in and fill that. They were looking to really,
Let me interject here. When you say design, did they design it and you meet their specs, or did they let you have creative control? Excuse me.
we designed it.
You did? Okay.
They would.
They had some ideas that they
came
brought to
with some
us.
ideas, we're kind of thinking this and this, but we had to find a way to take those ideas, mesh it all together, and create something that fit. In this case, they wanted a piece of art to also be a recognition wall, and it was very immense. And our son-in-law Matt is a very good graphic idea guy, and was instrumental in helping
Yeah.
to pull all those pieces together.
Very good with the
honestly.
details. He's very creative. And
Yeah.
he had a very big part in that.
Yeah.
Just tell everybody that doesn't know about this, and some people that don't go to Federated, this is a commemorative wall, correct?
Yeah, it was meant to recognize all the employees in their history, dating back to, I think, 1954.
So they have
that-
every employee
Every
that's,
employee that had ever been with the company for 25 years or more.
oh, wow.
So it's their quarter-century wall. And so there were over 1,300 names engraved on these pieces.
And what were now I've seen the wall. It looks like, is it metal? Are they metal pieces or?
No, it's a type of stone. This is a kind of a smaller piece of it
Sure.
that we also designed for the individuals that get this.
Now, is that piece right there, is that exactly some of the material that's used on the wall?
Yes, it's the same. This
Is
is the
that a
same
stone,
material.
you said?
This is a type of stone.
What
Yep.
type?
It's called simstone, so it's
Simstone,
a
okay.
simulated stone.
Sure, okay.
basically. And then this round piece was also part of the design. So these are two of the exact shapes that were in that wall.
Right.
And the round as well.
And you said the one shape, the first shape actually that's on the wall looks like,
Like this piece,
Yep.
which looks like the state of Minnesota.
State of Minnesota.
Which is where Federated obviously is headquartered, so that
That's
was
right.
part of the idea
oh,
in
that's,
that as well.
and who came up with that idea? That
Actually, Matt.
came up with the idea of
Yeah.
beginning it with Minnesota. That's your cornerstone piece, and then you
Began
go,
with Minnesota, and then if you see the whole piece, at the very end is a form of their shield. You see the right half, and then the left half, your mind's eye fills it in.
is the engraving right on the stone, or is the engraving on different pieces? Like here, you've got the engraving on the
It's
plexiglass.
into this,
Or that's-
in this
that's
case, it's into the
glass.
stone and color filled, same with the bigger piece as well.
Okay.
But interspersed throughout the big wall are glass pieces that are etched and color filled, and those have their mission statement. So their 4 mission pillars of their mission statement on it.
And it's a huge, huge wall. Do you know what the dimensions are of the wall?
Each wall, I believe, is about 19 feet.
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
19
got two
feet
walls.
and
Two
about
walls.
8 feet tall, right?
So, nearly
Yeah.
40 feet.
Wow, so that's a lot of engraving.
Real
And
estate, a lot of engraving, yeah.
did anybody go back and look at the wall afterwards and say, oh, this name is spelled wrong? What would have happened if that would have
There
been?
was checks and double and triple and quadruple checks, and that's one of the things that took a long time to really get that list together because,
Yeah. We have not heard that there's been a mistake
Right.
yet. If there was, I'm sure that we would do it over in
Oh,
that case.
As an editor, I fear that call after the paper comes out of the name that we got spelled wrong, or the headline that's got a misspelling in it, things like this.
what's really neat is every time I've been out there for some other meeting, there's almost always somebody still looking at that wall, and it's been up for over a year now, and there's almost always somebody stopped looking and
Sure.
finding a name on the wall.
And
so.
and what? How long did it take you to create that?
I think that was about 9 months.
That was
from
the
the,
9
from the initial, we want to do this,
to when it's finished.
to.
Yeah.
And did they have a regular unveiling up there?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, last year at their annual meeting.
Which we were invited to, so we were able to attend that as well.
Wow, that's awesome. I know Federated does a lot of good things for this city, and
they
it's
sure do.
nice to know that you guys have an in with them. Where are you going to go from here?
That's a really good question.
No trips back to Alaska, or?
Well, I hope so eventually, yeah, I hope.
We
get
we
together.
moved here though with the idea that there's room here for us to grow.
Sure.
We wanted to be able to at least have a space that we could have 10 employees. We have 7 currently, so we've got some room to grow. We really want to infiltrate southern Minnesota, from the cities down, and any business that needs any kind of promotional item or award, that we're the first one they think of. That's really, because we're nationwide. We've done jobs for customers all across the United States, Brazil, Australia also, but we want everybody to know us right here too, so.
So maybe a little expansion then, or you're going to extend your reach a little bit.
Well, we've talked too about even just having another office, maybe out in Colorado or something fun.
Or maybe Alaska.
Or maybe, yeah.
Reach across, grab the Canadians as you go through,
There
things
we
like
go,
that.
yeah.
But something else we've also been trying to do is make a difference in our community. And Kate is on the OBP, the Owatonna Business Partnership Board. So she's been active in the vitalization of the downtown. She's on the SHRM board for HR. And we've been involved with Cannon River Watershed, and I've been on the chamber board. So we've,
Big brothers and big sisters.
Big brothers, big sisters.
Yeah.
So you've really plugged into the community, and that's,
We're trying to be, because
Yeah.
that's all part of making a difference. It's
Yeah.
not just about us and our business and
Yep.
what we do for ourselves, it's what we can do to.
you guys ever get
impact
involved in the
the
Relay for Life up here in Owatonna?
community. We haven't.
Well, we've been volunteers a couple years ago,
Right,
other than that.
right.
we haven't.
I know that's a great organization, and last year we did the video for them, their photo montage for their Relay for Life, and just heart-wrenching to see that many people that have been lost. Well,
We've sponsored like From the Heart
okay.
too.
I know
Been
I'm
sponsors
supposed
for
to be
that.
running in that 5K coming up in May. May
Okay.
6th is the run
Okay.
on that, so
Well, our name will be on that
I think
T-shirt.
that's what I was thinking of.
that's great. That's great. And you're hoping to expand, and the business has been good for you here. And I think it's one of the secrets to your success is the fact that you've become a part of the community. You've become a part of relationships here, and you're reaching out. I think that's important for any business. And if you have somebody sitting across from you at the table, and they say, we'd like to open our own business, and we have an idea for such and such, what would be your greatest advice to them going in and starting a new business?
I guess.
I think, we've often said, when people were starting a business, and we thought, God, I wish they would have asked us about it, because, I think we do see some things there that, that are a good idea or a good way to proceed with a business, and they haven't always been done that way, and they haven't always lasted. So, again, getting back to, if you're going to start a new business, talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to your banker, talk to people about it, find out, what it, just as much as you can about the business, and, what kind of expenses you're going to have, and, if you need some other partners with you or something to start it, but have a good plan for it. I think, that's really important, and have people agreeing with you that that's the good right time, the right place, and to do that.
Sure, I think that's so important. I think people walk down a city such as Owatonna, and they look at some of the old buildings that are empty, and they go, "Oh, that's such a cool little building. I think it would be a great yoga studio, or it would be a great clothing boutique." And then the first step is they go out and buy the building, or they go out and lease the building and get the keys. And then they're standing there going, well, now what do we do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think your points are valid.
We started out slow. We started out small. We had 1/4 of the basement of our home is what we
Yeah.
had dedicated to a couple of makeshift desks. And he built mine out of plywood. And we worked with what we had. And we bought a used computer, a used fax machine, got by with what we had to get it till we got our feet wet, and then grew it from there.
You
So-
know what I like about your business is you don't have anything junky. And I say that because I won one of the corporate mugs yesterday at the drawing. And it is, I took it out of the box and I brought it back to the office, and everybody's going, wow, that is really nice. And, it's nice and sturdy and heavy duty, and the engraving was crystal clear in that. And you've got a lot of high quality things here that you do.
Yeah. And we tried to touch on that yesterday, or Kate did when she talked, and saying, the perception people have of what they're given as a giveaway. You can give something cheap, and then it might get thrown away. So give something that really hits your target market, that is appropriate for the recipient, that they're going to keep and use, keep in their kitchen drawer, and say, God, I need some new carpet, and they pull out a spatula and say, yeah, that's right, I'm going to call that company. We did that for Flooring Frenzy, and
Sure.
I'm going to call them because I need to get my carpet replaced.
Sure.
Or, an auto mechanic or anything. And you just got to have the right item that people say, I'm going to keep that because then I'll know who to call.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, this has been just a wonderful time with you two today, and I wish you the best going forward.
Thank you.
And if people don't know, Corporate Recognition is right here in downtown Owatonna at 125 West Bridge Street. Very easy to get to. One of the best things I do as an employer and as a boss is to recognize your employees. money's nice, but they something to hang on their wall is also real nice. You want to keep your employees happy and motivated, recognize them. I think that's just such an easy thing to do, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that, to reach out. And this is the perfect shop to come to. Bring a sandwich, because it'll take you a while to get through all the things here that you can order. And even if you don't find what you want, they'll pull out books to give you even more options. So again,
Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
That's
Really
right.
here.
Well,
So-
Pam and Ryan, thank you so much for visiting with us today on the Where's Mark show. And we will talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Somewhere over the bridge.